This is the Thursday, September 15th, Courage Hour for On Purpose with Purpose. And so we have an opportunity to have some masterminding and some collaboration around courage, which includes everything. I listened to John Maxwell this morning. He has a minute with Maxwell, and I try to listen to that. That's kind of what I created Terry Talks around. And he talked about decision making. And he said, when you hear that word, it's not so much the decision making that you can concentrate on, it's the decision management. And that was a totally new idea for me. And so I'm going to kind of think about that this morning when my brain is whirring around as I shower, etc. He talked about it's not so much making the decision, it's how you manage the decision and how you take action after you've made that decision to make that, a reality, or just let it be a fleeting decision, which I can think of many times I've made decisions and not managed them. So I'm going to that's going to be my new courageous thought for today is, do I only make decisions, or do I manage them? So what do you think about that?
I like that. I like that a lot, because it, just like you said, there's that element of follow through in there.
Yeah. And that I haven't listened to it for quite a while, because in the morning I'm busy. I'll just pass right by it because it comes to my email every day. And nothing happens, coincidentally, right? And I think I was ready to hear that. And as I'm working through some of these other things that Becky and I were talking about last night, just some of these things we're reading about Think and Grow Rich and the Happy Pocket Full of Money, et cetera, they're all bringing these thoughts into our minds that take action. And thought is the first step. I mean, that's where it begins. So if it's a decision you make in your mind, it needs to transfer to action if it's meant to be. Yeah. And it takes courage, right? To do the action. The decision isn't that courageous. I mean, you make the decision based on criteria, but it's taking action on the decision that takes courage. What do you think, Beck?
I love this. I didn't know. I've probably heard that John Maxwell does a minute quickie thing. But I used to do Darren Hardy's thing that he does. That's really quick like that, but it's not a minute. So I like that. I wrote it down to go check out that, because I love the ideas of like thought process, like thought provoking, especially when it's around leadership and development like that. So I love this thought for the day of how to manage. Are we managing them? So
yeah, and the difference between his format and my format, because mine's to support our year-long program, is he takes words for the day from people who listen to his minute. So it's always a word that someone has thought, they want to know more about. So it's all over, it could be anything around leadership, which again, leadership is like courage. Every time we open our mouth, we're a leader. Every time we make a decision, we're a leader. I mean, we're leading our lives, and we have influence as leaders around everyone around us. And it's not that you have to be a leader to practice leadership. So I really like everything he's written. I've got lots of his books, and I use them when I do the leadership class for the chamber. I use the 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. And so I'm going to get back into not passing by them in my email and listen to them again, because that's exactly why I did Terry Talks for a minute, because a minute you can do so fast. Yeah. And yet look at the impact it's had for all of us. Yeah. Oh, our time is at 10 after exactly. So go forth, live your intention, and hopefully I'll see all of you in 40 minutes. I think that it is certainly an appropriate discussion around courage and around what we were talking about before, because it's just talking about being a successful leader again, which takes a lot of courage. and that really there is never a win-lose situation. And I thought that was just an interesting concept, an interesting thought, that unless it's a win-win and it meets everyone's needs, then it's not an opportunity to, increase the influence that you have, as well as the collaborative nature of the group you're leading, right? So that's where that took me. I don't know if it took you that place as well, but when it says take the time to connect, gain consensus and inspire buy-in, and your life will run more smoothly and with greater ease. So that could certainly be in your family, with your friends, but I was thinking of it in terms of a group, where you're the leader. So I don't know, what did you think when you read that this morning?
Yeah, I thought this was a really great entry too. I instantly thought about like a community, and when we have like volunteers and like all about, right? If it's voluntold, it's different.
Yeah.
Right. And if it's chosen, if it's willing, like willingness versus, you feel like you're working to get people's buy-in, that's different.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it doesn't bring a great ease, in my experience.
Yeah. No, my experience as well, where sometimes people are hesitant, and whenever you're working with a whole group of people, say 20, 30 people, there's always going to be those laggers, that aren't going to want to buy in. And you can't concentrate on them, because they're always going to be there. And so sometimes you don't mean to be in the mindset of convincing them to join you. It's more like, just motivating and taking the time to listen, but moving the group ahead at the same time, because you can get stagnant and still, I'm especially thinking of when I was leading my, my staff, when I was a teacher, when I was a leader in my school. There were always those people that didn't want to do what we had decided as a group was important for our school and for our kids. But I was more of a, do it my way or the highway. And I can look back now and see how I lost my influence, because that's what happened. I eventually lost my influence. And so this really hits with me that, if you take the time to gain consensus and inspire, that was the word that stuck up to me, inspire buy-in, then things are going to run smoothly. It doesn't mean everybody's going to be 100%, but if you can inspire that collaborative buy-in and take the time and have the patience to do that, then it's going to be a win-win for everybody at different levels, right? Not everybody's going to be at 100%. You'll still have those people that are, iffy, maybe they're 20, 30%, but they've bought in enough, to move forward. And that takes a lot of courage to go there, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's definitely a great leadership quality to really stay focused on, and how to build that success. And I like that they use the word sacrificing too, like staying away from that, because that's where the lose part comes in. It wouldn't be a win-win with that in there.
Yeah. And the idea that a win-lose is not a win for anybody, not a win for you as the leader, and it's not a win for those people that you're leading and hoping to inspire to get to the goal. Good morning, Cora.
How are you?
We're just coming in on the tail end of our discussion, so we'll go ahead and get started for this hour.